And I think another highlight was when we grew. So Mo and I were working from our kitchen, from our garage, and we're working with our our helper who was hired by our mother, and she was still our helper at the time. And when we were actually busy with the Woolworths orders, this was in 2020, when we were busy packaging the Woolworths orders, which would actually, after she's done working, cleaning the house, etc., she'd then join us and package the products. And we managed to grow, from working in the kitchen to a 600 square meter warehouse, right? But then the highlight about this was being able to get a team that joined us and worked with us. So being able to actually have that team and making a difference in their lives and seeing the real impact that we created. So the impact that we create in our company is that we've got a wellness initiative where we give because we understand, I think it really came up from us thinking about being employees and thinking around how we would really imagine our, dream job to be like. And we wanted to create that for them, where we actually provide them with lunch and breakfast every single day. They get, fruits and vegetables, healthy fruits every single week. And then we also give them a transport subsidy up to 50%. They get access to medical health, also subsidized. So if, for instance, if they call in sick and they want to see the doctor, they can actually see a specific doctor who we have, a professional nurse, and it's all confidential because we also understand that sometimes people don't have access to into a clinic. And we also have a library where we have some self-help books that we have, provided for them, and we encourage them to read. And we've gotten feedback from them to say, I did not even imagine how to read a book from cover to cover, and I've done that. We also provide for our artisans, people that actually make the products, we provide free lodging, for them. So these are people that we actually met, some of them on the street, they were working on the street, living in shacks, not having, warm water to bath, etc. Now they've got, a shelter, and they get showers and proper toilets, etc. So being able to create that, and we also have what we call the Mindful Friday, which is the last Friday of the month after payday. We are all off, so it's a paid leave. You just go and be, because we recognize that people are not just packers or administrators or warehouse managers. They are also, mothers, sisters.
Can you see why I've got a little bit of a celebrity issue there, right? Because to make a business work is one thing, but a values-based business, where they put their money where their mouth is, like that's Euro stuff. I'm just saying, man, that's awesome.
So for us to implement that wellness initiative really is also a highlight for me, and I think it's one of the things that I'm most proud of about Mo's Crib. And we get a lot of investors who really question about this, cost impact of this wellness initiative that we have, and we put our foot down to say, we put people over profits, and come on, we cannot be worried about the small little cost of making people's lives easier. And with that, we've seen a really, really good impact on the business. We supply very big retail stores, even in the US, and because of the kind of work environment we have, we've never had a single store return a product to say this is a reject, it's not packed properly, etc. Because they really care about the product when they package. We actually even go to the lengths of saying this is not a reject, and they'll say, sorry, we can't package that. That's a reject. We're not gonna package it. So, and this is because they really take their job seriously. They feel like this is their own business in a way, and so we're seeing the impact. We've always had retention. We never had one of our employees resign. So essentially that's the kind of work, environment we created, and that's a highlight, and I think it will forever remain a highlight for me.
So then, Mo, just on that point, is that a decision you made from the beginning? That's how you're going to run your business, or how did it come about? Because building a team is probably one of the biggest challenges. It's building a team, finding talent, retaining talent, I think, and training. Training, retaining, and building a team. So
yes. So in the 8 months that we were building up to come back home, one of the things that we did with Michelle was look at the mission of the company as well as the values of the company. And we did a lot of research around it, listening to podcasts, listening to motivational talks, and really talking amongst ourselves as to what we envision Mo's Crib to be. Beyond the product, what is it that we actually want to do in our community? And one of our values was that, in making sure that we make a difference in our community, And not just saying it, but actually being it. And Michelle mentioned one of the first few employees that we had, which was our helper, our maid, who we promoted from being a maid to now head of packaging. She's now head of packaging, and she actually bought a vehicle. She bought a vehicle because the job really creates that much of a difference in her life. She now bought a vehicle, and her husband, who was unemployed, is now an Uber driver. So now there's a second income from Mo's crib, and that's the difference that we want to make. So it started from the maid that used to work for us before we decided that we wanted to have the business full time. So you can see that it's not something that we just decided along the way. It was something that was really intentional. We were really intentional in the 8 months leading up to us really leaving everything in Europe and studying Mo's crib in South Africa. So it's really about intention. What do you actually want to do? And you'll see that it will really flow, and the universe will really meet you where you are, because it's what you intended to do.
And this is called conscious capitalism. We actually heard it from this the owner of, is it Whole Foods? Yeah. So he has a book on conscious capitalism, and it's just all about being a capitalist but being quite conscious about
your leadership style, your leadership qualities, basically, and how you run your business. Yeah.
That's amazing. So just in terms of the thing of finding, training, retaining, do you guys have any insights that you can share about that?
And so we don't have a specific strategy to say we're going to do A and B and then we're going to do C, because you find different artisans from different backgrounds with different talents and challenges, because some of them maybe are in Polokwane and they cannot get the product to us in time. And so how do you then, navigate that challenge? So there's no one specific way for us. We just know that we do love people that have a good attitude, people that are willing to learn, because we've had some artisans that we've actually had to train from scratch without knowing how to make a basket, and now they're actually masters and they're actually training other people how to make the baskets. But it's really about, can we feel you, and are you somebody that we can have in our company and that really is aligned to the values that we have in the company? And essentially that's somebody that's really willing to go an extra mile, willing to work an extra day without complaining, or willing to forfeit that 5-hour clock, and 5 o'clock you're running home. Somebody that's going to dedicate themselves beyond the actual job description.
But you meet them in that place as well, because they show up for you, but you show up for them.
And that's really how it starts. You showing up for them first.
And I'd say one of the most important things, really, it's really not easy to sense out when you just meet the person the first time, but we really enforce it to people to let them know that we really want proactiveness. That's really, really important. And we see that we want people who are self-starters, so people who are able to just not have you as a leader think for them, but for them to be able to identify gaps within their own job, right, within their own work environment. And we talk about how this is training your entrepreneurial mind to say that if you're able to be proactive, you're able to identify gaps in your job, you'll be able to identify bigger gaps out there, in the market, or wherever it is that you operate. So that's an important thing, and I think we've been really fortunate to find people who are proactive or easy to pick up on that proactiveness.
We really also care about their goals. Where do they want to be? Because it's just really beyond them making a basket and getting that done. It's like, what else you want to do? And hence why we offer different types of training outside of manufacturing, outside of even making a basket. We give them other training like health and safety, or maybe HIV/AIDS for them to get to know more about that, or even BEE. So it's not necessarily the interview per se. I would say it's really the craft, how you work, or even your attitude. And then obviously as soon as you walk into our company, you will see the culture, and you instantly fall in love with it. We've received many comments by many people.
I think I'm going to come and visit your warehouse.
You should, because a lot of people have said this is so wholesome, and even the artisans feel it. It's really from the artisans.
We've got 12 full-time and up to 86 to 100 part-time artisans that we have.
It's a big logistical thing.
Oh, it's big, because you can imagine the number of product that we have to do sometimes for, and different types of products. We don't make only one type of product at a time. So we are working on different types of production lines for different customers. And sometimes we've got, just one purchase order would be of like 2,000, 3,000, units of a particular product. So you do need to have, a big team, or else you'll be manufacturing for the whole year. So in order to be able to meet those, production times, we definitely needed to have quite a big artisanry, team.
Michelle and I are really present. I don't know if you know a gentleman called Eckhart Tolle. If you don't know him, try to Google him, and he talks about being in the present and not arguing with what is. Yeah. So you've recruited someone now, and that person is really bad for the company. So you cannot argue with that fact. Don't. I think patience is number one. So you want to delegate work. As soon as somebody comes into your workplace, just understand that it's not their company. They don't care about it. First of all, they just want to get a salary at the end of the month. They probably are doing so many side hustles. They are busy on their phone, okay? So being patient, creating an atmosphere where they can actually enjoy work. I told the team last week that we're going to get a PlayStation 5. They were laughing. But I actually am serious, and we're going to get a PlayStation 5 because I want them to look forward to coming to work. They say that a salary is, I think somebody said a salary is
so
something.
They pay you to forget about your dreams.
Forget about your dream. I want my employees somehow to forget about their dreams and focus on my business, because I pay them to do that. So how do I get them to really commit to the workplace? By giving them breakfast in the morning, by paying for their transport, giving them lunch, so they actually don't want to stay home because they got lunch at work. So they come to work. Now they're going to have PlayStation, snooker at lunch. I would want that kind of environment. So how are you making that environment viable for an employee? And remember, it's not their business. At 5 o'clock, they want to go home, okay? They want to go home. So obviously, also have that leniency and know that at the end of the day, this is your dream and not theirs. So, and then train them and be patient with them. Michelle is very good at that. She's very patient with employees. I lose interest immediately, but she will just be like really patient. And then I see the result at the end of it. I'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so is doing really well now. I've seen such, great performance from him, because she's really patient with the team. She will really go through things over and over again. And having that patience, for us, is really good because we really complement each other really well. We're really aligned in that sometimes where I do not have the strength to be patient, she will take ownership of that. And so I think that's what makes it really easy for us. But there's no right or wrong way, unfortunately, to say, oh my God, I can see that one is going to really be good at my company. It's really hard. So it's something that you just like a gamble, but there's ways around it. Make sure that you create an environment where they can actually want to stay. When they're thinking about looking for another job, it's like, oh my God, they're not going to give me subsidy, or they're not going to give me PlayStation. I'm not going to be able to get that, So I want my employees to actually forget about their dreams. I know it's such a bad thing to say, but I really do, because if they don't focus on their dreams, what about my business? Excuse me, I pay you to focus here. So how am I going to then get your attention? You know what I mean?